Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another snack food review video. And as you can see in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at a popular brand of chocolate here in the UK known as Time Out. So we are going to begin this video on the Wikipedia page for the Time Out bar, and we're just going to take a look at some of the information behind the origins of the bar, as well as some pictures and other information as well. And then after that I have a few more pictures of the bar to show you, and following on from that we will then take a look at a pack of the bars that I have here with me today. So that is the plan for this video. So we begin here on the Wikipedia page, and first of all let's just take a look at the image here over on the right hand side, and if I just click that we can enlarge it. So here we have a picture of a Time Out bar, which I believe is from the early 2000s if memory serves. And I believe that this is the second logo that Cadbury produced for the Time Out bar in the early 2000s. But if we just look here below the picture, we can see that Cadbury are the owner, and the bar was introduced in the early 90s, the specific year being 1992. And they were actually discontinued in 2016 and refashioned into Time Out Wafer, which is what I have with me here today. But if we just look here at the top of the Wikipedia page, I will just read the information and we can learn a little bit more about the Time Out bar. So it says, Time Out is a brand of chocolate bar manufactured by Cadbury, Ireland. It was introduced in the United Kingdom and Ireland in 1992, followed by Australia and New Zealand in 1995. Mainly sold in pairs, it consists of a ripple of milk chocolate between two wafers, smothered in dairy milk chocolate. The bar was originally sold under the slogan, "The wafer break with a layer of flake." And just as I'm reading that slogan now, it does actually ring a bell back in the early 90s when I was still a young boy, but I do remember Time Out being introduced and seeing it in the newsagents, the local newsagents where I lived. So yeah, I do actually remember seeing that slogan around, perhaps on a TV advert maybe. Since 2016, it has been rebranded as a single bar version called Time Out Wafer. The original bar is still available in Australia, manufactured by Cadbury. Okay, so Australia still does the original Time Out bar with the flake in the centre, and if I just come down to this picture here, we can take a look, and this was the original Time Out bar. So we have the flake portion here in the centre, and we also have the wafer part here at the top. I do believe that this is the original Time Out, but what I will say is I do prefer the original Time Out to the wafer, although I do like the wafer. And as you'll see in a little bit, it is a very nice bar, and I'm also going to sample some of it today. But I do prefer the original Time Out, which contained flake in the centre. I think it was just overall a more easy to eat it very quickly, whereas I think it takes a bit more time and it's a bit more satisfying to eat the original. So if I just scroll down here, we can take a look at some further information on the bar. And it says, in Europe, Time Out was available for the Irish and UK markets and is produced by Cadbury Ireland. It was given a new look in 2010 with lighter blue packaging and was given a new slogan, "Everyone needs some time out." And as I mentioned, in a few minutes we are actually going to take a look at some of the various different packaging that the company has had over the years. So there has been a number of different looks to the packaging which we will take a look at. However, the new lighter blue colour proved to be unpopular with customers, and so a few months later its colour reverted to the previously used dark blue shade. I think that's quite interesting that customers didn't particularly like the light blue shade of packaging. I'm not exactly sure what the issue was or what would exactly put people off, because it is just packaging at the end of the day. It's a slightly lighter shade of blue. I don't think that would ever put me off from any particular type of chocolate. The bar was also available in Australia, New Zealand, New York City, Japan, Canada, and South Africa. I actually recall a previous snack food video for Crunchies, and I believe Crunchies were available or are available in New York City. So it seems like if you want to sample some chocolate and sweets and things from other cultures and countries, then you have to go to New York City in the United States if you want to get your hands on different types of chocolate from around the world and things of that nature. It's quite interesting that it appears that it's only in New York. When Time Out was first introduced, it was a substantial snack, about 25 grams. Then it was downsized to 20.5 grams. The single finger bar had shrunk down to 16 grams before it was discontinued. The main twin finger bar had a combined weight of 32 grams, 40 grams for Australia and New Zealand, and is suitable for vegetarians. In February 2015, the company announced that production of Time Out would be transferred from Ireland to Poland. Sales of Time Out had been in decline for several years. As of 2016, Time Out has been discontinued in New York City, Japan, Canada, South Africa, Ireland and Poland, as well as the United Kingdom, due to declining sales. In the UK, it was replaced with a single bar version called Time Out Wafer, which has more wafer and less chocolate than the original Time Out. Yeah, and as I was mentioning, it is a slightly less enjoyable chocolate experience for that reason. There is a lot of wafer, but I do enjoy Time Out, and I occasionally like to buy a pack, and I thought it would make for a good video today for the latest snack food review. So if we take a look here, at the bottom we have some products, including Cadbury Time Out Chunky, Time Out Mint Chunky, Time Out Orange, sure if they are still in production. The only one that I ever see now is the Wafer bar. But yeah, that is just about it for the Wikipedia portion. It's quite a small Wikipedia page for Time Out. Other brands of chocolate and sweets etc. have much more detailed Wikipedia pages. I don't think Time Out has ever been a hugely popular brand of chocolate, but it is one that came to mind, so I figured I would do a review for it today. So if we just come up here at the top, we can take a look at some further images of the Time Out bar, and from different time periods as well. So if we start way back at the beginning in the early 90s, I think this was the original Time Out packaging. So we have the dark blue packaging as I mentioned, and we also have these clock hands on the letter O as well. So I think this was the original Time Out packaging. And after that, I believe it was this one. I'm not entirely sure, but I think this one is from the early 2000s. And the article mentioned a lighter coloured Time Out, which I think is this bar down here. And now that I've seen the bar, I can actually get a sense of why people wouldn't be too happy with it. When I look at that bar, it kind of reminds me of a weight loss type bar. I don't think it's as appealing as the original or the second packaging that came out. And then if we take a look at this packaging here, I believe this is the updated one. This is the Time Out Wafer packaging, and that's very similar to the one that we're going to take a look at today. And what I have in front of me today is very similar to this picture here. So I'll just enlarge that. So this is the Time Out Wafer 6-pack, and you can buy this in most of the leading supermarket chains here in the UK, and that is where I picked up my pack. So I have a pack of 6 Time Out Wafers in front of me, and I'm just glancing at the pack now and back at this picture, and they are very similar. There's only a few slight differences between them. So yeah, I just want to show you guys some of the older style packaging of the Time Out bars, and I believe that is all that we're going to see really on this page. Yeah, we just have some more variations of the bar, and again here we can see the very light blue shade. And now that I've seen that, I can't understand why people wouldn't like it as much. I don't know about you, but it does really remind me of some sort of health bar or low-fat snack bar. Alright guys, so that is just about it for the Wikipedia and extra image portion of the video. So at this point, we will head on over and take a look at the actual Time Out bars themselves, some of the nutritional information on the packaging, and then we will take a closer look at one of the bars, and I'm even going to have a sample of one as well. So I'll see you in the next portion of the video. Okay guys, so here we have our pack of Time Out Wafers, and we have 6 in this particular pack, and as you can see from the packaging here, it is very similar to one of the ones we were just looking at on the images which is one of the most popular and well-known brands. And I think I would have to say that it is my favourite brand of chocolate as well. And if we take a look here, down at the bottom, we just have a notice for Be Treatwise, and all this does is gives you an idea of how much you should be eating in one sitting. So very self-explanatory really. We have one portion is one bar, so if you have kids or if you're looking to eat sensibly, it's best to stick to these guidelines. So if I just flip it over to the back very carefully, we can have a look at some of the information, and of course we have some of the nutritional information down here on the left side. And what it tells us is that each bar contains 5.7 grams of fat, which is 8% of your recommended daily intake, 3.1 grams of saturates, which is 15%, 9.1 grams of sugar, which is 10%, and 0.04 grams of salt, which is only 1%. These particular bars have a use by date of May 2022, but there's no risk that they won't be eaten by then. I can guarantee you that. These bars will most likely be consumed within the next 6 days, I would imagine, as I do tend to stick to the guidelines, so I'll have one bar each lunchtime probably for the next 6 days. And down here in the bottom right corner, we just have some information on what is contained within each bar. We have water, 16% with a cocoa filling, 38% covered with milk chocolate, 45% ingredients, sugar, wheat flour, vegetable oils, cocoa butter, cocoa mass, skimmed milk powder, whey permeate, wheat starch, milk fat, fat reduced cocoa powder, emulsifiers, so there are some E numbers contained within Time Out bars, potato starch, salt, raising agents, whey powder, and some flavourings as well. And we do have a notice here that it says may contain nuts. Milk chocolate solids, 14% minimum. Cocoa solids, 25% minimum. Contains vegetable fats in addition to cocoa butter. And it tells us down here that we have 6 bars, and each bar weighs 20.2 grams. And what I will say is that the price for these bars is very, very reasonable. I picked this up for only £1. So £1 for 6 bars, I think is a really good deal. So I'll just set the back down in the meantime. And what I'm going to do now is bring in my scissors, and I'm going to section of the packaging, and then we can take a closer look at the 6 bars inside. So I'm just going to very carefully cut this part now, and hopefully I won't cut any of the packaging inside. I think at this point I'm going to be able to simply peel it back. Here we are, almost at the very end. So I'll just put my scissors down to the side, and we can remove our surplus part of the packaging that we're not going to be needing. So hopefully now we can gain access to the inside of the package. I'm actually really looking forward to having one of these today for lunch. So there we have one. 2. 3. 4. So we have 2 more to remove. Five. 6. So we have 6 inside bars. And I think if I really wanted to, I could probably eat most of these in one go. But I'm a bit more sensible than that. I actually don't feel great if I eat too much in the way of junk food. I don't like the term junk food, but if I do eat a bit more of it than I know I should do, I don't feel very good about it. So I think it's important to eat things of this nature in moderation and just be a bit sensible about it. So we'll just move our timeouts up slightly to give myself a little bit of room. And I'm just trying to keep them in nice straight order here as best I can. So here we have our multi-pack bar. And as you can see on the side it says seal. And what I will say about these bars is because it's mainly made of wafer, it is a lot lighter, which was mentioned in the Wikipedia article. They do feel a lot lighter than the original bar used to. So the original bar, it had a lot of the flake in the centre, so there was a bit more weight to it. So I'll just attempt to open it from this end, or rather, I think I'll open it from this end. Let's do that. I'll bring my scissors back in. And we can very carefully just cut away this section. So hopefully now we can gain access to the bar. I just push it out there very carefully. I can actually feel my mouth watering ever so slightly as I slide the bar out. So there we have our timeout bar. We'll just set it down, just to make sure that we don't get any chocolate on our tree mouse mat here. We wouldn't want that, as it is primarily white in nature. So here we have our chocolate timeout bar. And I think if I hold it for too long, it's probably going to begin melting. So I'll take a bite, and you can have a look at what it looks like inside. So here we go. I have to say, at this point I feel I was a little bit harsh on the bar a bit earlier. I think it is a lot more enjoyable than I give it credit for. But as I've mentioned, it's been a long time since I've had a timeout bar. And now that I've taken a bite, I can safely say that it is very satisfying. Even though it is primarily made of wafer now, and not the old style which had the flake in the centre, but it is still very enjoyable, very satisfying. But I do stand by the fact that it is a lot quicker to eat than if it were made with the flake in the centre. I think wafer in general is a lot easier to swallow. But yeah, still very satisfying. So it's only taken me 3 bites to get down to this point. So it's only going to be 4 bites in full to eat a whole timeout bar, which isn't that many bites, I don't think. But yeah, that was very, very, very satisfying. And if you've never tried a timeout bar before, I highly recommend that you go and pick yourself up a pack. Don't think you'll regret it. And at the price that it is for 6 bars, I don't think you can really go wrong, even if you don't like them. chocolate. So I think you should definitely go and pick yourself up a pack of Time Out Wafer and enjoy them for your lunch or just a snack maybe in the evening time when you're relaxing in front of the TV. But yeah guys, I think that is just about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this look at Time Out Wafer Bar, as well as the Wikipedia and some of the images we had a look at as well. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and hit the notification bell as well, and I'll bring you plenty more snack food review videos like this in the very near future. But thank you once again for joining me, and until next time, rest easy, sleep well, and I hope to see you again very soon for another video, and goodbye for now.